Mopay nga kulop aton nga tanan. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers, the partners who made this event possible, and especially to the Ramon Oboitis Foundation for sponsoring my trip to Katarman and Palapag, as well as the National Historical Commission of the Philippines for making this event possible. So my talk will draw in part from what has already been presented earlier this morning, but I will be focusing on the so-called ancient religion of the Visayans. So I use that term religion deliberately kay part iniyahin mga debates about what the pre-colonial Visayans were like. So it's an ongoing discussion between mga historians. And I would argue nga ang Alcina manuscripts are an important source, just as the other presenters have already made this point, but I will apply it specifically sa katong religion han aton mga ninuno, naton mga una nga mga Bisaya. So si Alcina, he himself admits nga when he arrived in the Philippines, may nauna iya. There were already other missionaries who had converted the natives, and many of the natives were already Christians, Catholics na. But take note, 26 years, given our span na nga atong view, this is relatively short nga time. So Alcina had said nga there were actually still a number of people nga iya pang na-interview who could still tell what the pre-colonial Philippines, pre-colonial Visayas was like. So this is now the oral tradition element that is important in the account ni Alcina. So there were still some who were pagans, and because of his diligence, his interest, his empathy with the natives, he wanted to learn as much as he can. So we will see that there are indeed biases, but still we can try to minimize and kaning biases using other written and verbal information. Okay, so there is also another interesting aspect of Alcina's Historia. Okay, sometimes medyo contradictory here. He would say one thing, and then in another chapter he would show it's a bit different than how he told it in another chapter. So for instance, he was trying to investigate ang religion sa Visayans, ang ilang idea of God. And he says in one line nga their knowledge about God was in mga oral traditions lang, kay because they were illiterate kuno and uncivilized, so there was no information available nga maka-determine siya what the religion was like. So it was not written down. But if you look at other sources, there are actually materials, pottery, and the like nga naay aton gintatawag ngayon nga baybayin or surat nga binisaya. So we can actually find these artifacts that are used for ritual purposes. So for prayers and mga babaylan. And there is actually a chapter si Alcina sa book 3, so part 1. As I think na-mention ni Manuelito, there is a chapter about the alphabets, manner of writing of the Visayans. Pero diba sa earlier chapter, nasa rin nga illiterate ko, no, and waray writing system. So there's that sort of contradiction in some of the statements made by Alcina. Although on the other hand, the things he wrote about the script, it's also handy in comparison with the other writing systems found in other parts of the Visayas. Okay, so this is the question I would like to ask. What could Alcina's Historia including its biases and prejudices, tell us about the pre-colonial religion of the Visayans, and how could Alcina's extensive account of the Visayans help us understand and utilize other sources on Philippine religions or belief systems. Next slide, please. So these are the chapters that have bearing on religion. Most of them are on Book 3 sa Part 1. Pero there is also one chapter sa Book 1 which deals with so-called superstitions, and it's about the Nonok tree. So familiar mo, I think, you know, ang Nonok is the same name as Baliti tree. And sa may idea natin karon kung may Baliti tree, how do we usually respond? Naga po mahadlok or nasarit, nga maagi ka. So there is still that sort of reverence for these kinds of trees, which as we will see is quite important. Kay mo ang according to other scholars, equivalent ni inihiyahan mga stone temples in other parts of Southeast Asia. Just like Angkor Wat, Borobudur. So here they have these stone temples, mga ritual sites, but kita, we had these trees nga very majestic, very sacred to the ancient Visayans. And ang religion, just like many other societies in the world, kay it was for seeking well-being. You live a comfortable life, and imong afterlife is also good. You, as Christians, madto ka sa heaven. So these are the motivations usually in engaging with religious mga belief systems and practices. But in the case of the Visayans, another important aspect nga we should keep in mind kay we were very decentralized. So meaning an aton communities were these small nga mga groups of houses. So karon ang aton tawag kay mga sityo. Diba? Naay barangay, naay munisipyo, pero keep in mind nga in pre-colonial times there were no such thing as provinces, mga municipalities, naay mga baryo, naay mga poblasyon nga dagko pero very rare. Most communities lived in gagmayla, mga gudti ay nga communities composed usually of around 40 or so families. Which in the case of Samar, kitaon ni mo tiya settlement patterns, di ba amo gihapon, there are still a lot of these small communities. And ang ilang religion, according to Alcina, very diverse food. Each village had its own nga mga rituals and practices, beliefs, na sila own diwatas, own ancestors. So ikaw imagine nga Alcina had a hard time understanding this entire system kay it was very diverse. But that occupied much of his time trying to interview people, trying to come up with a general idea of their practices and beliefs. So these are some of the features I'd like to discuss. So first, kay he was trying to investigate, did they have a one true God? So monotheistic nga hypothesis, but he was trying to say nga they already believed in one God before the coming of the Spaniards. Pero he was known by a lot of names, just like how in the Bible it was the same thing. The ancient Hebrews had different names for the supreme being. So that was his hypothesis. Kay marag nagdepend og thesis si Alcina. And if we look at it, we would classify this as a polytheistic, di ba? Many gods ang nasa Visayas. And I will name just a few. There were two diwatas nga Alcina found to be the greatest. Na-mention to kanina ni Professor Junil. He Malaon and he Makapatag. So Malaon is actually very familiar to us kay we still hear its name sa news. Diba recently na ito'y nag-alboroto nga bulkan, andiin adto ha, Negros and Mount Canlaon. So amo itiya malaon in pre-colonial times. So in fact, there is a specific reference to it in Luarcas account. So in Comendero hiya, dito ha, Panay. So he said that Lalahon, another version of Laon, dwells in a volcano in Negros Island. She hurls fire. So na-discuss po ni Manuelito kanina, di ba? A eruption in Camiguin, possibly madunggan, mababatian dito hakat Balogan. So a lot of, imagine ang Canlaon, that's the biggest volcano in the Visayas. So kung nabuto ito, it would have been audible as far perhaps as here in Katarman or other parts of the Visayas. So there is a pattern nga in most of the Visayas, there is a variation of laon nga ma-mention ang mga missionaries. Kay as mentioned also, she was the equivalent of Bathala among the Tagalogs. So si Chirino to ang nag-specify nga Bathala for the Tagalogs, Laon for the Visayans. But there was another greatest diwata, and that was Makapatag. Take note of the difference. Malaon was the greatest and most powerful, and iya anak, Makapatag, greatest la ang mention. But the meaning was he who sets everything in order and makes everything equal. So iya na flatten, napapatag tanan. So kung volcano Himalaon, what do you think is the equivalent of Makapatag, a powerful force nga na papatag tanan? Diba? Ang super typhoon Yolanda. So ini nga mga typhoon is arguably the phenomenon described. So what is the evidence? An home ni Makapatag. According to Father Alcina, owner and god of Homonhon, Makapatag. And if we look at the path of Super Typhoon Yolanda, very similar. And 1897 po nga typhoon, there was also a storm surge. It also passed over Homonhon in 100 plus years ago. So very evocative ang description ni Alcina about the power of typhoons, which again evokes that name, Makapatag. Everything on its path is destroyed. And in 2013, very similar nga description. So si Father Kobak translates Makapatag as the supreme leveler, great equalizer. Ano sa ka negosyante ha Yolanda, amon iya pag-describe han Yolanda. Nga, the typhoon is a great equalizer. No more rich and no more poor. Those who have anything left, kay dapat iya mag-share so that you can all survive. So equality of divine justice ang term ni Alcina for Makapatag. So mother and son deities, it did not disappear. Okay, diba? That made it easier for the missionaries to introduce the Virgin Mary and the child Jesus and Santo Niño. And diba, even palapag na pan old nga image, mother and child, dito amo na Tacloban, na Santo Niño, na Virgin Mary, in Cebu. So pan-Visayan gihapon nga. Na Jesus, pero often Mary is close by, mga iconography hit mga Bisaya. But we could argue many other Filipinos as well and other parts of the world. Pero haaton, this mother and child nga religious figures, icons, they were already familiar to the Visayans. But there's another thing malink nato to folklore in the fact nga Homonhon was a sacred island. Kay it was also known as Isla Encantada or Enchanted Island. Kay ang description apart from it being a abode ni Makapatag, there was kuno a sort of invisible village. There is a boat of a Spanish group. They would approach Homonhon, see lights. Pag duok ni Ra Island, waray suga, waray tao. What cities man ang sikat yan nga suga din Mambiringan, and I think din Northeastern and Araw City. May nagyap ini nga Araw City nga ada folklore. So before these names, and originally ni nga pan-engkanto nga syudad, nakada ha Homonhon. So thus the Spaniards called it Isla Encantada. And that's not limited to the Visayans. Mga other groups, the Manobos in Mindanao or in Agusan, the Mamanwa in Surigao, na sila'y mga beliefs related gihapon to Homonhon and to Negros. So na mga spirits nga ang ilang belief based ito ra Homonhon. So diba dila di ay Visayas. There were beliefs nga shared with our neighboring indigenous peoples. And na explanation hiyagor, why was it nga na mga spirits? Because these islands, amoy nira ang mga cemetery hauna. So si Fedor Yagor, German niya nga naturalist, familiar mo ha Marabot Islets, Makatukamutakloban, or ha Basay, there are these rocks. Ito ang mga ancient cemeteries at the time. They would put the bones in these caves, even na Borongan, di ba, ang Ando Island, nagyapon na mga dagko nga bones na they believe are from their ancestors nga giants. So there's that kind of folklore that explains why these islets like Homonhon, in Yagora's account, kay he uses Munhon. Pero easily to guess nga he was referring to Homonhon. Okay, so there are beliefs associated with these gods in the early Spanish period. So na-mention ganina ang smallpox epidemic, an equivalent to COVID in the 1590s. A lot of people died. Ang belief nila kay they were being punished. So hino nagpunish era ang two greatest diwata, Malaon and si Makapatag. So why kay nagpabudol ko nera ang mga Jesuits, nag-convert nera. So there was another event, a 1601 typhoon with a similar interpretation by Iba Baylan. Because of your conversion, you are being punished by these epidemics, by these typhoons. So you should return to the old religion. And that is in fact the motivation behind the Bangkao Revolt, the Tamblot Revolt. So ginbubuligan ko na by the Diwatas to return to the old religion, to reject Catholicism and Hispanization or colonization. But na-defeat man hera, ang nakadaog ko na ito nga battle ang Santo Niño and Virgin Mary. Sabaduhan na nga pair of mother and child. And because of the victory of the Spanish forces, nakadaog ko no ang two nga Christian icons, ang Virgin Mary and the Santo Niño. That's why ang devotion sa Santo Niño, diba, it's widespread na po until today. Pero ang nagsugo, han Makapatag to poison ko the atmosphere was the mother. So again, another indication of the power of women as decision makers sa Visayan society in these beliefs. So another thing is the yung mga babaylan. So discussed already earlier, but bailana or bailana is the common term. Asog is for the bayot, the effeminate male. Nga, according to the Boxer Codex, kay mas bongga kuno ang mga bayot, mga asog than the old women who were the bailanas. So more, ano to niya word? So more authoritative according to the Boxer Codex. But what did they perform? Various rituals associated to the life cycle, na ay mga healing rituals, rituals for good harvest, rituals for planting, and the like. Pero to clarify, ang mga meanings, daetan means someone befriended by the diwata. Ikatuoran, so tuod, truth, it's a oracle. Ito nakaka-foretell han future. So pareha sa kuan gyapon na Europe, they have something similar. Tambalan, they were the herbalists. They knew the plants, ano nakakaupay. So it was through this tambalan that the Jesuits were able to cure the smallpox epidemic that raged in the 1590s. Pero in terms of the spirit world, the natives felt closer to their ancestors. So an era mga ritual, usually it was mainly devoted to their ancestors, kay amo an mas madali ay ma-contact. Ba, kung na messenger, nakay utangan, imo rupod and first. But here, if you ask for good health or blessings, it was the ancestor first, last resort ang mga diwata. But if you've seen or naka-remember pa mo ang Amaya nga show, a GMA, di ba, Marian Rivera may daniya snake twin. So this is a very common phenomenon in many of the Gamoro, in many of the small communities at that time. Kaya if you had a snake twin, meaning you were a maisog, makaradlok nga warrior. And if you were maisog, meaning you could capture a lot of slaves and make your village wealthy. Mari ko kamo kon may daniyo maisog nga mga warriors. Kaya diba, that's why we were called pintados, because of the tattoos that were mainly gained kon ma-participate kamo in raids or in warfare against other communities. So it was mainly to accumulate as many slaves as possible to make your community prosperous. So para maasenso an iyo bungto or an iyo baryo. So after life, there was Sulad and Saad. So Saad nga karon promise, but before Saad kay heaven. Sulad, it's equivalent to purgatory. So ang description sa Sulad is it's a village of spirits of your relatives. So very similar gihapon na era mga Gamoro, nga mga mag-urugropod lahera. But what's interesting is kada village nga enchanted an era mayor kay Diwata. So na ay Badadom ang ngaran and many others. So we could say nga ining Isla Encantada in Homonhon, an Araw City, Biringan City, kay amito an era pinaka heaven in pre-colonial times. But that's just a hypothesis nga needing further research. So that's why they would say nga heaven kuno, if there is ever someone who lives there, it's not people. Basin kuno himalaon la, only malaon would live in heaven. The rest would live here with the human world. Pero di ba ning kanto diri ragin kikita kay their spirits naman. So that's the link with the pre-colonial belief system. So na-mention na ang Yawa ganina, and I mentioned the Nonok. So there is a detailed discussion in Chirino nga naay mga diwata that lived in the Nonok called Tagbalay sa Nonok. So may naukoy nga diwata in the Nonok, but may dagyap niya border. So bagan boarding house and an Nonok, and Baliti tree. Ang tawag ha border is the Palihi. So according to Alcina, ang Palihi and Nonok kay they were not friends. Mag-away kunad to. But the Palihi kay it was helpful in trying to cure mga sakit. So they found a way to convince the Palihi to go down from the branches of the Baliti so that anything it touches nga branches ira gagamiton pang tambal. So that was the value of these spirits in their more healthcare nila at that time. And it was also important because, according to Father Kobak, these were the equivalent of the churches in pre-colonial times. So may dangani ang mga babaylan, they had a investiture or what we might call an ordination of the priestesses nga hanunok gihapon ni ragin hold. So first man and woman, na-mention ganina nga either comes from the coconut or the bamboo. Pero Alcina also said nga baga na bibiduhiyahan origin story han mga Bisaya kay baga kung tikang laha lubi or tikang ha kawayan. Kaya dibaan ha Roman Catholicism, Christianity, Garden of Eden, and the narrative of where Adam and Eve came from. So, on the other hand, this can also be valuable because it tells us nga very powerful ang women. Because when the first woman was, before she got married to the first man, nag-consult pa hiya with the fishes, the birds, and it was only after they were convinced by Linok or Linog, ang god of earthquakes, nga na-convince na ang first woman to marry her sibling and first man. So ang decision-making of women again in these origin stories. So other origin stories that are mentioned include an arrival nila Magellan. So there's an interesting change when the Spaniards came. Kay guess where umabot ti Magellan first? Diba? Humunhon. Ano anak kada humunhon? Balay ni Makapatag. And if you recall, Makapatag, nasisina hiya kung may nag-iiha. If someone stays very long in that place, he becomes angry, gugubaon niya ang boat. Pero what happened when Magellan expedition came? They stayed for 8 days. Nothing bad happened to them. Diba? Kung ikaw, Bisaya, ano ito, kayo nga, baga welcome manera to Makapatag, what happened? So thereafter, there was this belief in Luarca, nga those Spaniards kuno were long-lost relatives nira. Kaya there was an event kuno before that the natives were displaced by the angry parents. An kumadto kuno hasala, nahimo nga dato, an nakadto ha kusina, nahimo nga uripon, an nangadto ha lutuan, nasunog nga nira lawas, nahimo kuno nga negrito. Pero an kumadto ha dagat, those who set out to sea, away from the parents, they disappeared. And they did not have news of these people until they saw them return through the sea. So according na to Luarca in 1582. So kinsa man ang baga well-known nga event at that time nga nibalik through the sea nga mga iban color and Magellan, the Spaniards. So there was that belief nga they were returning nga mga urupod in the story or the susumaton of the Visayans. But what happened to Makapatag and Malaon? So they are still there in the folklore. So if you are familiar with mga legends, may the Maria Cacao, diba, Maria Makiling, and many others. Makapatag, I'm not sure if may dangan niya Northern Samar, if you've heard of Makandug or Makaandug, ini nga mga giant nga ancestors, may da ito Eastern Samar. And even today, after Yolanda, may da ito story nga an era Kaisog, an era Kakusog, was because they are descended from Makaandog, that legendary nga warrior figure. Okay, so to conclude, we can still use Alcina in writing pre-colonial history and religion as long as we use other sources and other methods apart from just relying on written materials. So we can still understand ourselves using the sources written by non-Visayans like Alcina, nga very sympathetic to us and very diligent and prolific in his writings. So damo nga salamat ngan mo pa nga tulob pa iyo nga tanan.